I'm delighted to be joined by the history maker herself, Fallon Sherrock. Thank you very much for the time, Fallon. How are you doing?
Thank you. I'm doing all right. I'm doing the best that I can do, as anyone else is at the moment.
Well, we last had you on the show in the summer of last year, so we've got to start with a look back at your achievements at Alexandra Palace last December, almost a year ago now, would you believe? What memories come to mind when it's brought up to you now?
Yeah, I kind of forget how long ago it was now, because to me it still feels like, it's only around last week or something. But yeah, looking back on it, it's like, it amazes me of the whole impact and everything like that, and the memories I get from it, the whole crowd atmosphere, the games that we're playing, how the world reacted. They're memories that I'm never going to forget. So yeah, it's still I still can't believe that I was the one that done all of this, and I've lived all through that. And now when I watch it back, it's like, oh, I really did do that. It's still a bit disbelievable at some point.
Going back to the qualifier that you won through, you beat some top players, the likes of Lorraine Winstanley, Lisa Ashton on the way. What were those 3 weeks or so like in the lead up to making your debut at Ali Pali? Were you excited, nervous, mixture of both?
Kind of a mixture of both, because I remember being at the playoff, and I was actually with Lorraine that morning, and we were so nervous before even going to the venue, and we were talking to each other, trying to calm ourselves down. And then when we got there, we were okay, right, let's just get our heads on and all that. So I still remember all of that, and I still remember qualifying, and I was just on cloud nine. Literally, I couldn't speak. I think after it, I sat in the car park, and we didn't move for about half an hour because we were just so excited. And then the lead up to the World Championships, I was just so excited and couldn't wait. And then I started to get a bit nervous, because I'd never played on a big stage like that, and I'd never, played in front of a massive crowd, and I didn't know what to expect. And I remember actually messaging Lisa, asking what it was like, and just trying to get an idea of what it was like and all of that. And then I still remember when I got there, I was amazed with the atmosphere and all of that. And actually before playing my first game, I remember being in the back with Ted, and we were just having a little chat and a laugh before actually going out on stage. And I think that kind of helped me, kind of chill out a little bit and just enjoy it a lot more.
Definitely, and the date, December 17th, 2019, will go down in history in darts. That was the night that you beat Ted Everts to become the first female to win a match at the PDC World Championship. What was that moment like when the double 18 goes in and you have made history?
Well, actually, at the time, when it went in, I didn't know what to do. I didn't know whether to laugh, cry, cheer. I was just amazed, because I was just filled with all this emotion. I didn't really know how to express it all. And then obviously, like I said, all the impact afterwards, I was in disbelief about everything that was going on. I was just it's just a couple of interviews, and I didn't realise how big it was. And I still had to then play my next game, and I still remember I was just filled with so much emotion. I literally, still to this, still now, I sit there and question how I actually felt, because I was just filled with happiness, and then loads of different other emotions. I'm I can't pinpoint how it actually felt.
That's what I was going to ask you about, because that win, of course, sparked a media frenzy, which darts not often sees. Lots of interviews, as you mentioned, on TV, radio, nationally and globally, that the win reached all corners of the globe. How did you try and cope with all of that, whilst also trying to focus on your next match against Mensa, which was only, I think, 4 days later?
I don't really know, because I kind of just got thrown in. Literally, after I'd done all the interviews in the press room, we got back to the hotel, and then I think I had a couple of hours sleep, and then I was up at Good Morning Britain, and I was oh, okay, this is fun, I'm going to enjoy this. And I was literally thrown in the deep end, because it was literally one interview after the other. I didn't really get time for a break or anything, so I was kind of just winging it all, really. And it was a blur. The whole day to me now is a blur, because I was just getting thrown from one interview to the next. So I think I was just running with it. I don't think I was like, I think I coped with it quite well, because I was just like, well, they're asking me the same question, so I'm just kind of trying to answer it. But I think it helped me in the long run, because I think now I feel more comfortable doing interviews by when I got thrown in the deep end like that, because beforehand, if anyone had asked me a question, I'd be like, yeah, no. Like, it was like watching paint dry, like it was painful.
Well, the historic run obviously continued. You put out Mensah-Suljovic in the next round, and unfortunately you got to Chris Dobie, a close game in the next round. When you look back on those last 2 weeks, the wins, of course, will obviously stand out. The interviews, the big ones like Good Morning Britain, things like that. What would you say was the most surreal moment of it all?
I don't really know. I mean, I can't pinpoint one specific thing that made it all surreal, because like I said, I had to do all these interviews. I mean, the fact that I was on Good Morning Britain, I was like, oh my god, I watch that every morning when I'm getting my little boy ready for school. So for me, I was like, wow. But I was also on other morning shows and radios that I was like, there is no way how someone like me would ever get on this. So I was like, wow, this is incredible. But then obviously I then had to prepare and stuff for the next games and stuff, so I was more concentrated in the games and stuff like that. But looking back on it, I'm so proud of all the games and that I played and stuff, and I think my proudest moment was obviously when I beat Ted, when it hit the double. But then obviously Mensah was a really big game for me as well, because he was number 11 in the world, and I mean, to take out number 11 in the world is just incredible. So, I mean, the whole experience, I can't really pinpoint one specific thing, because everything was just made it for real.
That's fair enough. Well, let's move on into this year then. We were hoping to see you appear in another World Championship at the start of the year over in the BDO, the women's event at the O2, but a few days before you decided to withdraw from the event. Why was that?
I think, looking back on it now, it was just the broken promises and stuff, and I was just they weren't I was asking questions but I weren't really getting any answers and all that. And it was when they dropped the prize money originally, because they were like, we can't promise it, and I was like, why am I going to go play in a championship that they're not going to I might not get anything out the end of it? And I've worked so long all year to try and, yes, I wanted to win the world, obviously win it, but obviously the money helps as well because of all the financial side to getting there throughout the year. So I was just like, I can't, it's not I don't really know, to be fair. I mean, I personally, it just kind of killed it for me, because of everything that I'd just done, and it was a blow for me, if that kind of makes sense.
Yeah, can obviously tell it was a really hard decision for you to make, and you touched on a few points there. There was a lot of uncertainty around the event with the prize fund and other things as well.
Yeah, I mean, and it got to a point where I was like, is it going to happen? Because it was just so up in the air, and I was like, I was literally gutted.
Looking back at it now, though, obviously turns out to be that was the last BDO World Championship. The BDO is unfortunately no longer anymore. But looking back now, are you maybe slightly disappointed you didn't try and enter and become a BDO Women's World Champion, because you got to a final before, and obviously you've had some great times in that tournament?
Yeah, I mean, obviously looking back at it now, I'm sitting thinking, yeah, okay, maybe I should have just played, and even if I didn't win anything money-wise, just played in it. But at the time, I thought there was going to be another World Championship. I never thought it'd be, the last one. But I suppose there's going to be other opportunities open up. There will be another Women's World Championship, or the overall World Championships like the PDC does. So it's just going to have to be it's going to be harder now, but I'm still determined to win a World Championship, whichever way it is.
Moving away then from the BDO, you were back at Q School in January, and although you didn't get a tour card, you compare the averages from when you went there 2019 to this year. You can see how your game has improved. How did you reflect on the Q School this year?
I think Q School helped me just purely because, like you said, the averages had improved from previous year, but it also helped with my stamina, because obviously it was 4 days of just early start, and then obviously how many games you played and all that, and it helped me throughout the exhibitions and all of that stuff that I was doing, because obviously where I was playing so much, I was building up the like momentum to play and the stamina to do it all, whereas before it was like I'd hit a brick wall. But it helped me as well in the competitions as well, because I was used to, you know, I was getting used to playing so often. The more games I was playing, the more games I was playing, you know, at a better standard than when previously when I was playing, I'd have a good game and then I'd have like one or two bad games because my like stamina had dropped.
Before the virus shut everything down, we of course saw you in the Premier League as one of the challengers. We also saw you in the UK Open. You won through one of the Riley's qualifiers. How did you find playing in those events for the first time as well?
Yeah, I really enjoyed them events. Like the Premier League was just an amazing experience because I got to play Glenn, and obviously, well, you can see how well Glenn's been doing in the Premier League now and how like good of a player he's got, and the fact that I drew with like someone of that good like ability is like, it's such an achievement in myself that I'm so proud of myself. But yeah, the whole atmosphere of the Premier League was just insane, and the fact that I got the privilege to do that, I was just so proud of myself. And then obviously going to the Riley's qualifier, going back to the Q School bit, the stamina at Q School helped me with the Riley's qualifier because it's such a long day, and obviously you had to play at a good standard to get through. But then obviously when I got to the UK Open, granted it didn't go with the result that I wanted, but it was still a great experience. I mean, I got to play like the UK Open, and there was only like a couple of women who had actually done that before. So you had like me and Lisa that were there this year, but then I think Beat played there before and Anna, and it was like I've been part of history in that, like in that way, to get what I mean. So I was just so proud of myself and everything, and experiencing all these like games on the stage and all the atmosphere and the crowd is just amazing experiences.
Definitely. And after that there was a bit of a break for everyone really, and I was chatting to my co-host on our show Burton last week, and we said about the players that have missed out the most this year through exhibitions and invites, yourself, Wayne Warren, Raymond van Barneveld. How did you stay motivated when things were being cancelled early on in the lockdown?
I just, to be honest, the way that I just stayed motivated, I just thought, eventually things will get back to normal. I don't know if it's going to be, you know, next year or the year after or a few months. I didn't know. So I was just like playing in the Modus League, and I was like, okay, right, I'm just going to carry on playing. I'm going to try and keep the standard up and just kind of keep myself busy and not get like disheartened with, you know, all the exhibitions that I've lost, all these opportunities I've lost, because eventually I will get them back. Like they aren't gone, they've just kind of been postponed because, you know, when a global pandemic is, there's nothing much they can do. I mean, you can't do anything about it, and I mean, it's out of everyone's hands. So it was just like, I just kind of had to like accept what was going on and just kind of keep myself occupied and still practice and, you know, keep myself busy by playing on the online stuff. Yeah,
we saw a lot of you in the Modus Online League during the lockdown, and then of course last month back on our screens for the World Series finals, the first event back with a crowd. The result obviously didn't go your way on that night, but how much did you enjoy playing on that big stage again?
Yeah, I really enjoyed it. I mean, it was just really good just to get back to playing like with someone in front and like in front of me, like when they're playing on the hockey, and like being on the big stage and having like the referees, and like we had a little crowd, and it was just really nice just to be back playing in like a big event like that. But yeah, obviously the score line didn't like, you know, go my way or anything like that, but I still enjoyed the game. I mean, I still enjoy every game that I play regardless of what the result is. But yeah, I think obviously with that game as well, I think after the break and then coming back and the lack of match practice, I think because obviously no one's played any darts or anything like that, and I definitely haven't been anywhere to play darts against anyone. That's where I lacked in it. But in fairness, Jeff was played mint towards the end and stuff, and I was just happy that I could keep up with it.
Let's have a look ahead then, and it's going to be a busy couple of weekends coming up for you. The Challenge Tour this weekend, and then next week you've got the Grand Slam qualifier, the Women's Series as well. Just on the Women's Series, what was your reaction when you saw that was announced?
Oh, I was so happy about that, because literally that is all that I wanted to do, which is kind of put the women's game out there. So obviously with everything that was going on in like Christmas time and start of the years and stuff, every time that I had like an interview or something, I was like, we need more opportunities. So I was like basically, you know, sitting there asking for opportunities, and when the opportunities now come up, I was just like, well, how I guess like we're finally getting the recognition that we need, because like I said, like everyone can play really good darts. We can all kind of beat the men and all of that. We just need more opportunities to prove it. So obviously, when this all come up, honestly, I was so happy. And I mean, I had like Lorraine and Corinne and Anna, and they were all just like, this is amazing. And it is an amazing experience and stuff. And I just hope that all the women obviously can get behind it, support it, and then hopefully more can come out of it.
Absolutely, yes. It's great to see that the PDC as well, they're putting up a prize fund for these Women's Series events, which are going to go towards qualifying for the 2 available spots for the World Championship. But for the ladies' game, would you like to see that extended maybe to more weekends and a possible ladies' tour from the PDC? Or do you think ladies like yourself and Lisa, the main target really should be pursuing the Challenge Tour Q School and focusing on getting a tour card like Lisa has?
Yeah, so I think obviously like the target is to get a tour card and get onto the Pro Tour like Lisa has, because I mean that's a great achievement like in itself, and obviously that's what we all inspire to do. But obviously where there's nothing on for women at the moment, like literally like no one knows what's going to happen with like competition wise, this is literally the only thing we've got at the moment. So I'm hoping obviously if we can all show how we can play and obviously, you know, put the support around it, hopefully, you know, I'm not saying, you know, create like a women's world championship, because I feel, you know, if we can beat them, then why not play on like beside them? Like, why have we got to, you know, have our own one when we can beat them and show the world what we can do? But I mean, more competitions or more like weekends maybe, because I think that's what the ladies' game needs. I think we need more competition, but also we need like more, you know, like when you play like more legs. Because obviously the women's game's always been like best of 7 or something like that. So we're not used to playing like the longer formats, whereas obviously like the Pro Tour holders and all that, they play the longer formats. And I think that's the only way like the women's game's going to improve a bit more now, because we have more opportunities like that, more weekends, more formats to just boost the game, like just to push it further now.
Fingers crossed for that. And lastly, before we let you go, we should also give a mention away from the PDC to the WDF and the Virtual Cup. Yourself and Lorraine partnering up to represent England. Talk to us a little bit about that and when we can expect to follow your games.
Yeah, so that's a big surprise for me, because I didn't know how they were going to do anything like that. Obviously, like it's really great to be picked from my country, obviously, to play. I know it's only online, but it's still I get to play against people from the other like countries and stuff from my own home, so that's incredible. So yeah, I get to play with Lorraine, and I mean, I can like she's awesome anyway. So I'm hoping obviously we can put like a good standard out, and hopefully get through and, you know, make England proud and all of that. But yeah, I mean, I'm really looking forward to it. I mean, I've scheduled my games for Wednesday the 7th and Monday the 12th at the moment. Obviously, I'm trying to like wean into more games, but obviously it's a busy schedule towards the next 2 weeks for me, obviously with the Challenge Tour and the women's, and so we've got to, you know, kind of fit in where we can. But I think England's going to like stream some of the games as well, so hopefully people get to watch them, and, you know, hopefully we can get the results.
Excellent. Well, wish yourself and Lorraine all the best with that, and wish yourself as well all the best with the Challenge Tour this weekend and the Women's Series next weekend, and thanks very much for joining us.